Balahisar Fort is a beautiful fort right in the middle of Peshawar on the Grand Trunk Road, which was called the Sher Shah Suri Road because it was made by the Pashtun Emperor Sher Shah Suri in 1550 AD, who medaled it. And there are forts on it. The first one is in Kabul, the second in Jalalabad, the third in Peshawar, fourth in Attak, fifth in Jhelum called Rohtas, and the sixth in Delhi, and it continues right up to the Indian Ocean. Today's visit is to the FC Museum on top of the Balahisar Fort in Peshawar. I'm Dr. Khurrum Shaukat Yusafzai, and today's video is about this beautiful museum which has 150 years of the history of the Pakhtunkhwa and the Pashtuns. Ahmad Shah Abdali, after the Battle of Panipat, won the Indian kingdom just after the Mughals, and he ended up marrying the daughter of Bahadur Shah Zafar, the last Mughal king. And he made the Durrani Empire right from Kabul up to Delhi. And it also included the Balochistan called the Khanate of Kalat, and it extended right up to the Gulf, up to the Indian Ocean. So the Durrani Empire and the Mughal Empire, both Muslim empires, ruled over the Indian subcontinent till the British arrived in 1857. Although the British were there before as East India Company, Taimur Shah was the son of Ahmad Shah Abdali, who used to sit in Balahisar. And then his son, Zaman Shah Abdali, who was a just and kind king, but he was opposed by his brothers, which was Shah Shuja and Mahmud Shah. Shah Shuja was in Lahore, Mahmud Shah was in Kabul and Herat and Kandahar area. So the rivalry between the Mahmud Shah, Shah Shuja and Zaman Shah destroyed the Abdali Durrani Empire, and it started weakening. This weakness was accentuated when Zaman Shah's eyes were taken out by Mahmud Shah, and then he died, and his son, the son of Mahmud Shah, Kamran Shah, became the ruler of the Durrani Empire. And that was a weakening empire because his uncle, the brother of Zaman Shah, Shah Shuja, conspired with the British and the Punjabis, the Sikhs. They formed a pact called the Amritsar Agreement. After this, the Sikhs and the British Empire decided to take on the Pashtuns, and this triangle of Shah Shuja, Ranjit Singh and the British started to take Peshawar, which was part of Afghanistan. This one-eyed man, Ranjit Singh, was the one who benefited so much because the British used the Punjabi Sikhs against the Pashtuns. And in 1834, when Shah Shuja gifted the Kohinoor diamond, which belonged to the Durrani Empire, along with Peshawar and the whole Pakhtunkhwa to the British and the Sikhs, this was the beginning of this province of Pakhtunkhwa, which used to be called Northwest Frontier Province, because the rule of the British Empire died here, because this was the end where the sun would never set, but this was the end. The resistance of the Pashtuns were legendary. There was the first Anglo-Afghan war and there was the second Anglo-Afghan war. Both the Pashtuns won. In the first Anglo-Afghan war, the Sikhs, the British, and were defeated, and they only left a doctor to tell the story. Similar was the story in the second Anglo-Afghan war. But the Pashtuns were weakening because of their lack of the latest military science and lack of the military weapons, and because they were landlocked. The British took advantage through another strategy. Warburton's mother was a Durrani princess belonging to the Durrani Shah Shuja family. So from the Shah Shuja family was Sir Aslam Khan. Together they formed an alliance to make a force consisting of the Afridis and Turis on the Khyber Pass, who used to take money from anybody passing from the Khyber Pass. So they were empowered along with some Sikhs from the Ranjit Singh army, and together the Ranjit Singh army, also known as Spiffers, and the combination of these irregulars, they formed Khyber Jazilchis, which was later known as Khyber Rifle, used in the demarcation of Durand Line. As you can see, on the horseback is Mortimer Durand during the demarcation of Durand Line, and the Khyber Rifle was present there at that time. At that time, the British divided the Afghan territory into two pieces, half of which was called Afghanistan and the rest was called Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. The Pashtuns never liked this arrangement. After the First World War, the Anglo-Afghan War started in 1919, and the Pashtuns wanted to take back the Pakhtunkhwa right up to Delhi from the British, but they did not succeed. And hence the beginning of the Northwest Frontier Province begins, and the story of this militia also begins. Although it started after the Second Anglo-Afghan War of 1878, the first FC commandant being Colonel Warburton, then Colonel W.C. Barrett, and Roos Keeple are also famous. Roos Keeple later on became the governor of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and he was very active in the Khurrum area with the Turi militia, which was later on called the Khurrum militia. In this divide and rule, the British achieved the name of Lawrence of Arabia. Colonel T.E. Lawrence is also very prominent. T.E. Lawrence, as you can see, is the same man who divided the Ottoman Empire, and he formed the current Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, because of his activities as British spy acting for British intelligence. He was situated in Waziristan. Waziristan is also one of the earlier scouts. So he used to do intelligence activities because he knew Arabic too much. So he used the mulacracy against the Amanullah Khan, and his Bacha Saka activity is very prominent. This is the picture of Brigadier Ahmad Jan, the son of Nawab Aslam Khan, from the same family of the Momans. His father was Aslam Khan. This is the earliest uniform, as you can see, of the Afridi and the Turi tribe, which later on became Khurrum and Khyber Rifles. These are the different turbans of the different Pashtun tribes. As you can see, this fort is so old, it was even present before Christ area. There was also a picture of the freedom fighters from the Pashtuns like Sher Ali Afridi, who killed the viceroy of a British Empire, also Hoshal Khan Khattak, Rahman Baba, and there was Kalu Khan, who Yusafzai, who from Mardan Sawabi area, who defeated the Mughal Empire. There was Fakir of Ippi and a lot of freedom fighters, but prominent among this is the non-violent one is Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan. He started the non-violent movement based on the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He was a non-violent man because, the Pashtuns had no military power to fight the British, who had the powerful navy, powerful artillery, powerful air force, which were all used against the Pashtuns. So he adopted the non-violent movement, which was later copied by Indira Gandhi, by the father of Indira Gandhi, Mr. Gandhi. So Khan Abdul Ghaffar is also known as Bacha Khan, the King Khan, or Fakhre Afghan as well. He is the father of the freedom movement, because in Indian subcontinent, the Punjabis and the Bengalis were doing jobs with the British, but the Pashtuns were always giving tough time to the British. So they fought with the weapons, and they also fought non-violently. The British didn't like the non-violent movement so much that he put him in jail from 1921 to 1924. And he spent 3 decades, like almost 30 years, in the prisons of the British and the Pakistani establishment, who inherited the same policies from the British, who didn't bother to even change it to a positive policy. As you can see, the dark dungeon is so dark that it was difficult to even take the video there. So we had to enhance the light to take the picture. And it was so dark and creepy that right next to it was gallows where a dummy was hanging from the ceiling. So in these conditions, the political prisoner like Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan was put there. He was terrorized to submission, but he did not. And he spent almost 3 decades fighting for the cause of Pashtuns and Pashtunkhwa. You can see the very narrow alley. It's so narrow and it's dark, although it's illuminated by the LED lights, and all the cells have been converted into museum rooms. But you could imagine in the old times when there were only like lamps and candles, how dark it would be, and how damp, cold, and dark. And imagine 3-4 years in these cells for anybody is really terrifying. Although Ghaffar Khan didn't have so much hair as they put on this dummy, who looked more like Bob Marley than Abdul Ghaffar Khan. And the cells, one of the cell where he was is put in original conditions, but the other cells are converted into museums where I would show you one by one what is there. Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan formed Awami National Party, which is present to this day, is one of the oldest political party of Pakistan, older than the Muslim League, and it still continues the freedom fight for the Pashtuns and also for their rights, and it has accepted the Pakistan, and it has also accepted Qaid-e-Azam, and also his sister Fatma Jinnah gave the sign of Lalten to the Awami National Party. In this room there was cultural dresses, the tools, the weapons, the musical instruments. Also, there were jewelry for the women. The same jewelry is worn by the Ottoman Empire women, like Halima Sultana, from wife of Artugul. And because the Ottoman Empire had actually these Turkish people had immigrated from Afghanistan, although they're not Pashtuns, but they are the other Afghans. There were the turbans, there was the beautiful art on the rickshaws and the buses. This is also found on the Australia train, because they were also started by the Pashtuns who immigrated from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. They were like beautiful vessels for putting the bread. And there were also the minerals which are found here. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is a mineral-rich area. It is more richer than the Gulf states because it has petrol, it has gas, it has water, it has natural resources like the minerals, like the marbles, the granites, and we have the forestry. And the tourism is so rich that it has bestowed the most beautiful area, just like Switzerland is here, along with archaeology, which is so much money earning that it can be the richest state in the world. But the lack of education of the Pashtuns is the reason they cannot benefit from their mineral and natural resources, and they were taken for granted by all the powers. US President Jimmy Carter was here. He started the Operation Cyclone by issuing the NCC 303 weapons to the Taliban oblique Mujahideen in the early 70s. So they started fighting against the USSR. Later on in the late 70s, under Nasirullah Babar, and a big Operation Cyclone was started. This is the picture of Nehru. He came in 1946 and he was rejected by the tribals who wanted to stay with Pakistan because there was a referendum held by the British if they want to join India or Pakistan. But the tribals wanted to join Pakistan because India was far away. Joining with Afghanistan was more practical, which the British kept the Durand Line intact, and the Pakistan inherited the same Durand Line from the British. These are the uniforms of Frontier Corps militia. As you can see, they also call it militia in the local language. They wear the traditional Pashtun dress with the Peshawari sandals, and there's uniforms from 1878 to the current one, because currently this uniform, the traditional dress, is now used as a ceremonial dress, but the battle dress of the military, modern military, has been adopted now for operational reasons. So this is the earliest dress which were worn, and this actually depicts the tribal dress of the Afridis and the Turis who formed the Khyber Rifle. Because Nawab Aslam Khan was a Durrani and Ahmedzi from the Mumand area, but he was respected by the Afridis, and the Afridis and the Turis anyway used to take money for anybody passing the Khyber Pass. So the Durand line was, an opportunity for them to earn more money. So they were more happy with the Durand line as compared to the other Pashtuns. So that was the political reason of forming, Khyber Rifle, tactfully by Sir Robert Warburton and his partner, rather his family acquaintance, Sir Aslam Khan. Sir Aslam Khan's son, Brigadier Mahmud Jan, also was the IGFC second, and Mahmud Jan's son was also an IGFC. Muhammad Ali Jinnah came here and stayed in their house and formed the Muslim League with Sir Sarbzada Abdul Qayyum Khan, who was the first Tehsildar or political agent of Khyber Regency. So they were very active in forming the this Durand line. As you can see that Khyber Rifle was there in the picture. There is the flag of Daesh, the terrorist who came in from Afghanistan, coming from the Arab countries. So Khyber Rifle fought pitched battles recently against, and the highest casualties are among the Pashtun troops of frontier militia as compared to the army. Lord Minto of the Minto-Morley reforms was here in 1909. You can see the early pictures of the Khyber Rifle, how they're wearing their dresses, and the Khurrum militia polo matches are famous. Lord Barron, commander of the British Army, visited Peshawar and frontier militia in 1929. These are the pictures of the commandants of Khyber Rifle, also the Khurrum militia and the Tira Scouts, which have become 3 units. Before it was only Khyber Rifle. Now it is divided into Khyber Rifle, Khurrum militia and Tira Scouts, because they all are in the Khyber Pass area. This is the picture of the adjutant, Captain Adil, who died after falling from the horse. I believe he's from the family of Nawab Aslam Khan. So there was a history of Khurrum militia. As I said, it was used to be Turi tribe, which was joined with the Khyber Rifle. Then it was separated to form the Khurrum militia later on. Khurrum is a tehsil, or the name of a place on the top of these mountains, which we call the Himalayan mountain, and the range, the area of which covers the Durand line, is called the Suleiman range, name on the biblical prophet Hazrat Suleiman. So this is also called Suleiman range, and this Himalayan range divides Afghanistan, Pakistan, and it goes right up till Iran. It's a pretty biggest, one of the biggest range, and it's also called the rooftop of the world. So there are a lot of pickets in Khyber and Khurrum area, small pickets which used to, serve as residents of the soldier companies who would protect the border. So there were bigger forts and there were smaller forts called pickets. So in the picture, they were made by the British era, and they are still present and still maintained, still being used, although it can be easily converted into museums and handed over to the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa government, and we can earn a lot of money by using it as museum for tourism. But this is not priority by the government of Pakistan, because earlier, there was a land given in Hayatabad. This is Muhammad Ali Jinnah and Ayub Khan in 1948, after the Pashtuns liberated the Kashmir in the first Indo-Pak war, which was not done by Pakistan Army in 65 and 71. Princess Diana, the most famous lady in the world, along with the second most famous lady, wife of President Kennedy, Jacqueline Kennedy, is there. George Bush Sr. was also here. So Carter, George Bush, and the wife of Kennedy, all were here, along with the lords and the presidents. So Khyber Rifle is a pretty VIP targeted area. Who come to Pakistan, they always visit here. Now we come to Peshawar Scout. This scout was made after the creation of Pakistan to protect the Dir Nawab and the Nawab of Khar of Peshawar, because there was princely states after the creation of Pakistan, which existed till 1970s. So in the early 60s, the government created this militia to protect these princely states, although later on the government forcibly annexed these princely states. So there was a fear that these princely states would accede to Afghanistan. So the rulers or the princes were forcibly put in jail, and the Peshawar scouts, took over, and now it is controlled by Pakistan military. And as this area falls on the Pakistani side of the Durand line, so the princely states of Peshawar, the Dir, and the Mardan Hazara, called Amb, and the Swat states, these people and the tribals had actually helped get the Kashmir in 1947-48, but they could not keep their own state. Although they protected the Kashmir state, but they lost their own states. They were never rewarded for their services to the state of Pakistan. This is now Waziristan Scouts room, which is now divided into South and North Waziristan Scouts, and these are the picture of their commandants. So this is Colonel Javed Yunus, one of my uncle, who was the commandant of this Waziristan, South Waziristan Scouts. He was Sitara Jurat, second highest bravery medal. Our family has 3, and highly decorated family in the military. And he died in Lahore, and he was buried with all the ceremony by the Pakistan Army. My grandfather used to be the governor of State Bank for 3 years before State Bank of Pakistan was formed, because it used to be COOP Bank. And we have a pride family tradition as well. This is the commandant office, so luxurious and beautiful. And the Waziristan Scouts, the horses, as you can see, there are beautiful horses and stables, and the tradition of horseback is still maintained there. This is the beautiful dress of the local women there and the men. And Waziristan people are very brave and independent minded. The British sent the cruel General Dyer, who did Jallianwala massacre. Instead of punishing him, he was sent here, and he continued his cruelty. He used machine guns, tanks, chemical weapons were first time used in the world here, aircrafts against these Waziristan people and the Pashtun people, but they could never win from them. And the tribal people were always independent, and they are still independent, and they have defeated 7 superpowers to date, starting from America, Russia, Romans, the Macedonians, the Alexander the Great, the Genghis Khan, the Mongols, and this is the feat which the world don't know. And the military history right over here is testament to this, that the British could never win from them, so they used the tactics, and the tactics of sometimes the love, like marriages were successful, but not the military ones were successful. One of the prominent man who fought the British was Fakir of Impi. This is his place where he used to hide, and the British used to be so fearful they wouldn't go there. He invented the bullets from stone, and he fought till he died in 1960s from natural causes. He was asthmatic, and Fakir of Ipi was a freedom fighter. He also did not accept the Pakistan government, because Afghan people or the Pashtuns are on both sides of Durand Line. So Durand Line is still disputed to this day, and even Taliban don't accept it. There was a weapons history room where you can see all the weapons from the past to the current one. The Jizilchis, the Jizilchis were so powerful that their range were more than the British weapons. And there was a poem by the British that the 10 rupee Jazil is more powerful than the 2,000 pound training of a British soldier or army officer. This poem was in Kim, the man who coined the term Great Game, because Pashtuns were Kim is a poem by Rudyard Kipling, where this couplet is found that the 10 rupee Jazil is more powerful than the 2,000 pounds, British pounds. Imagine this 2,000 British pound is hundreds and thousands of pounds in the current scenario. The newly raised scouts like Aurangzei's and Khatak Scouts Room was also there. They had their history of fighting the terrorism, the ISIS and the Taliban. So this has a rich history. And actually this area is Aurangzei area, and the Aurangzei area there is this famous three forts called Gulistan Fort, Fort Lockhart, and Sararoga Fort. Saragadi, Sararoga or Sargadi Fort. So this area is actually very famous. Recently India made a movie on this incident called the movie is called Kesuri, made in 2019. Akshay Kumar is in that. Although the tribes of Aurangzei won against the British army, most of the British soldiers were Punjabi Sikhs, because British used the Punjabis against the Pashtuns because the manpower for British was not that much. So they had to bring people loyal to them, like the Punjabis and the Bengalis, as their soldiers. So in this movie you can see that the Aurangzei tribe won and they destroyed, the British had to run away, although later on the British reinforcement came, and the Pashtuns fought the British for more than 200 years. This fight is still because the Pashtuns don't accept the sovereignty of any superpower or any power. The Lockhart and Sararoga and Gulistan forts, you can see the Gulistan fort is exactly depicted in that movie, although the Sargadi fort is different, but they actually depicted the Gulistan fort in that movie. And you can see the beautiful mountains and the view. So attacking this hill is pretty difficult for a force. Like the tribals were not military men, they were civilians, they were not trained fighters. The British army brought these soldiers because the Ranjit Singh army and the Peshawars and these Sikhs were trained by the British in the modern warfare, and the Pashtuns fighting them were fighting with their bare hands almost. But still the victory would go to the Pashtuns, and the British never won any significant battle, although they did capture this area through political. That's why they used to call the administrator as political agent. They didn't used to call them as commissioners, or they used to call them political agent, and this continued right till 2014. when the province of NWFP, as the British named this area which they captured from Afghanistan, was actually Punjab was also part of Afghanistan. So they used to call it NWFP, and they put a new name Punjab, which was not found on the maps before 1857. So Punjab and NWP and Hazara, this is the British created names, which the people confuse. They think that in the past these names were there. Most of the historians are confused about this thing. So the Bada Rifles is also one of the units here. Bada Rifles is also part of Khyber agency. Now these are called Khyber Tehsils after the merger, because Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan party did merger of the tribal areas with the Pakhtunkhwa. Before, the Pashtuns on this side were also divided into three parts: Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, tribal area, and FR areas, which are now merged together. So maybe now Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is the second biggest province in Pakistan, unofficially, because the census of population has not been done, but I think it's the second biggest province, bypassing Sindh right now, which the future population census would confirm. Thank you very much, and please subscribe to my channel. Hope to see you again. Take care. Goodbye.